So there were people telling me to go back to work. It almost seemed like people weren't believing in me. There's one person we have to thank for this, and it's Michael, because he didn't give up on me.
27K this month in profit.
With this strategy, if you put in the work, you're going to make the money. I was that guy who was literally arguing with Michael.
How you doing?
Right. Dude, I'm doing okay. Long time coming, I'll tell you what. It's November. Gosh, it's been like 3-4 months.
Did you do all the organic stuff for the last 3-4 months?
Well, so you remember I went to jail, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I wasn't expecting to go to jail. I was told I wasn't going to jail, actually.
Well, it was like around a week or something, right? Or was it long?
No, it was like a month. Anyways, so I was told I wasn't going to jail. This is right before my 31st birthday, too. So it was a big fucking thing. But my ads were running on Facebook still. And I'm trying to, I don't know if you've ever been to jail, but there's these phones. Yeah, there's these pay phones in there that don't hardly fucking work. And I'm trying to explain to my wife how to get into my campaigns and shut them off. So I get out. Not only were the ads running up all my funds, I was spending what, $400 a day. So think about that. It was close to 3 weeks. The ads are running unprofitably too, by the way. So I've got all these fucking orders I cannot fulfill. I've got all my funds that are just gone. I have Shopify capital loans I've taken out, credit cards that I've maxed out. Like it was a shit show. Dude, I've been in e-commerce at this point for, I think it was like, what, 6-7 months. So things just went downhill. And then I asked you, I said, hey man, I need to make money. What do I do? You're like, this is the way you're going to make the money. And I was like, okay, so you have those beginner products that you guys give us to film with, right? I filmed with that thing for like 4 weeks, man. And mind you, I've got my son with me. So I have a baby. He's here at my office right now. I've got a reception area here. And then I have a back room where my call center was, where I've got like a playpen set up so he can like watch TV and stuff. So I'm kind of pulling around my kid, traveling high and low with this. It was a mess, but I managed to go viral with it. Finally, Jacob was like, dude, you need to find a product like that will convert, you know? And at this point, I've got a couple side hustles going on. I went back to web development to make some extra monies. I was in tech support for over 10 years, so I did a little bit of that. Then I was like, okay, like time to refocus and really knuckle down on this. So for the last, I'd say 4 weeks, I've been running this product. Bam. Now, mind you, 20 or 30 students in your program have picked up the product now. So it's getting a little oversaturated. When that happens, because I don't have a mega account, right? My accounts are fairly big, but I don't have a mega account. How long does a product like that even last in the market? Like, do you think like 2-3 months? Maybe?
It really depends. We can go over the numbers and the accounts. You can send it to me, and I'm going to be able to let you know. There we go.
What I'm talking about. I've got some PayPal holds and I've got a 20% reserve with Shopify. But I mean, I talked to Jacob about it and he was like, you're going to get that money. So what does it matter? The profit margins are about 46%, but I'm using USA Drop. They are taking a little long to fulfill the product. This product specifically is like out of stock. They had to have the manufacturer make more product for me. So I've got people complaining and stuff like that. But
first of all, congrats on the success, man. 27K this month in profit. That's good. And this is all from this one product, which basically started crushing. So first of all, how many videos overall from everything did you post?
I've probably done close to 300 videos, I would think.
Golden number. I told you that, remember?
Yeah, the guidance was really good. Obviously, like there are some things that I was lacking, especially like the people who are, you know, caught up with you in the program and things like that. Like obviously I understand them having priority over me, especially because things kind of like took a turn for me and I wasn't sure if I was going to like focus on this or go back to, I mean, I even considered getting a job at one point. So there were people telling me to go back to work. There were people like, it almost seemed like people weren't believing in me who I expected to, but my wife, she has a good job. And so she's kind of like Jacob. She was like, you know, stop being a bitch and go get it done. Like literally like that. And so I was like, okay, you know, like I saw a little potential in the product when I first went viral. At that point, I was like, okay, I think I can go viral again because I didn't have a website made at that point. And I did it. I'm actually the only one on TikTok that I found who has gone over 1 million views with this product. It's surprising because you've got all these people trying my concepts, right? And I did 3.1 million views on one video. And I've got another video on my backup account that's gone over 1 million.
All the sales are coming from these two videos?
No. So most of the sales are coming from Instagram, but sales did come from the two videos. You know, like I would think the majority of sales have come from Instagram though, because I've got multiple videos with over 1 million views there. I'm pretty happy. I would say I'm more of a firm believer in organic because I had the success with Facebook ads, right? And I really enjoy Facebook ads because I feel like it's like one of the ways to build a brand. Like, and that's kind of what my goal was. But now I see in order to get the $10,000-$20,000 profit months, like churning and burning products on TikTok is really one of the best strategies that I've come across.
Exactly. And like initially when I noticed that it was ridiculous how easy it is if you do it right. Because literally you just start posting a bunch of products, and if the products are good and your content is good, you make a shit ton of money. That's the strategy, you know?
Facebook ads, there's a lot of expense there, like a lot of expense. And if things are unprofitable, it can go south really bad.
I mean, look, the ups and downs for you were crazy. And how was it generally for you dealing with these downs and actually getting back up?
The downs, they seem like you're never going to come back from them. You start questioning the business model, the strategy. It almost seems impossible when the down, because the lows are so low that the highs are so high. Right? I mean, coming back up, it really made me it showed me that if you put in the work and you follow the strategy, you know, to a T, that you're going to make money. There's not a way around it. You just have to have a good product. The videos and editing will come. The majority of videos that you put out, they're going to suck at first. Towards the end, you know, you literally get it down pretty well.
Yeah.
So.
And do you understand now in retrospect why we're telling you to start out with easy products and then go to these big winners?
Oh yeah, for sure. I kind of had the editing down a little bit from creatives that I was making with Facebook, but as far as like almost personally filming the products, you know, that's the part where I can see that it really did help. And by the way, the product you guys picked out at first, I hated that product. I did not want to film with it, but the fact that I didn't want to and I did, you know, it showed me how to film and edit extremely well. So I am extremely grateful for it.
Do you feel the money now? Because obviously a bunch of money came in this month, but also you had like payment provider holds. And so are you feeling the money? Do you do anything different? Could you pay something off, or is it just sitting there in the bank account or on PayPal?
The biggest thing for me is fulfilling the orders. I don't really spend any money right now. I'm not in a position to, but I feel like 2, 3, maybe 4 months consecutive of profit on these margins. I mean, I could definitely start seeing me spending some money, or at least relax a little more.
Like you mentioned earlier that you already were thinking about maybe going to a job back. Can you imagine going back to a regular job currently?
No, no way. I've been a business owner for the last 10 years, and I was extremely successful with my old business. The one thing that tied me to e-commerce and dropshipping in general was I have a family, and I'm able to do this and still be there for them. So I probably film and edit for 6 to 7 hours a day. So if I get into work fairly early, I can leave the office and, you know, get home at a decent hour in the afternoon. So
What's generally were the biggest learnings from doing all of this for the last like half a year or so?
consistency is key. Don't give up. I would say that's the biggest one, because self-doubt comes pretty hard when you're not making money. When the lows are there, you feel like the highs are never going to come. But when they do, they pay off big time. Especially with a strategy like this. Like, wow, I hit a revenue this month that I didn't even hit with Facebook ads and scaling. And the profit margins are so much better. This strategy, this is one of the best strategies that I've seen as far as e-commerce goes.
Did you ever feel like quitting?
Do I ever feel like quitting? Like,
Well, did you ever feel like quitting with this?
oh, did I ever feel like quitting? Yeah, for sure. My wife had a majority of the financial burden on her. It was killing me. on top of, you know, having a lot of other people telling me that I need to go get a job and do this and that, you know, I started getting discouraged. But she kept believing in me, and my wife told me to just keep going. You know, I'm glad that I listened to her, because the profit I've made in 1 month, the 3 months of me not making anything, it is definitely, it's kind of equaled out, you know?
Exactly. Like it's almost 30K profit this month, which means that over the last 3 months, on average, you make 10K a month in profit. This is like the average of it. And you need to understand this is the very first month you actually test a really strong product and you learn the skill. You got paid now for learning it for the last like 2.5 months or so. And this is how it goes for everybody who is making it to these case studies. Like all of them are telling me this. Nothing was working and it went crazy. And this is organic. You don't make things work at all, and then all of a sudden it just blows up and you cannot believe it. So like how did the first days feel when it started to hit those like high numbers?
Those high numbers felt pretty good. I think it started blowing up around the 11th. I can show you here in the dashboard. I think it was the 11th. Let's check it out. Okay, so we did 2,400 that day on the 12th.
Yeah.
3,300. And then I think it just kind of kept going up from there. I'm curious as to what the biggest day was. I think the biggest day might have been 5K, but
Yeah.
I can't
Maybe
remember.
just select the whole time, just select the whole time frame, and then we're gonna see it.
Okay, let's check it out. Let's see when that was.
Actually over. Yeah.
So the biggest day was 5,300, or actually, 5,500.
That's like 2.5K in profit.
Yeah, that was a good day
Yeah.
for sure.
Basically doing all these videos, like hundreds of videos without seeing any success. Did you doubt the strategy itself? Like, did you think you should switch at some point?
Oh yeah, I thought about going back to Facebook ads for sure. I talked to Patrick, and he was the one who was like, "Look, right now is not the time to go back to Facebook ads." He was
Yeah.
like, "If you're going to try and get back in there, it's going to be a hard market." He kind of saw like the little success I was having, so like he was like, "Just keep going," because I already knew about AOV with Facebook ads, how to structure the website, all of that. So he's like, "You take that over to organic, and you're going to crush it, man."
Yeah.
And for sure, I think that that's where I kind of have a leg up on some of the people
100%.
who are just starting organic and testing out my product right now, is that I know how to structure the website properly for the product page, and I know how to handle the AOV.
This is something which organic guys are so lazy about. It's making me so angry when I see it. Like so many in the program right now are doing exactly this, exactly what you're saying. They're doing organic. They already have 50% margins, and they're like, "Why would I focus on AOV? Because I already have the 50% margin on Facebook." With low ticket product, it's a very different story. The only profit you make is from AOV, right? So like it's only from the optimizing all the upsells and things like that. So you come from that world where that's all the profit. And then you're here where that's just bonus profit, which is money like put into your bank account for free on top. So this is literally something which is like it's a huge advantage in comparison to the other guys. I've seen this with a bunch of people who come from Facebook to organic. They just know how to do it. It's obviously I'm going to do the upsells. Of course, why would I miss out on that?
With upsells alone, I have one small upsell product that has already made me over $8,000 in sales. With the other like bundle upsells, I think altogether it's probably like I would say close to 12 or 13K, you know, maybe a little
Huge,
more.
huge.
But yeah, without that, like, you know, I'd be sitting at probably a good 15K profit. But with the holds and everything, you know,
Yeah.
it wouldn't feel like it does right now for sure.
From the program itself, what helped you with the most in terms of organic?
I think the fact that you kept believing in me was a huge one. And that motivated me to keep going and not quit the mentorship. Jacob is amazing. As far as product selection, he's awesome. I think he would still probably say my videos are trash, though. To this day, I feel like he would still say that. Like he probably wouldn't believe that I got 3.1 million views on one of them. I literally feel that way. But no, Jacob was a huge help. Tobias, like, you know, with little bugs that happen with TikTok and things like that. how to create profiles and warm them up. Those guys are extremely helpful when it comes to questions for that. And then, you just have to be self-motivated and put in the work. If you put in the
Yeah.
work, it'll happen.
Yeah, I think this is a big component of the program itself, where we have basically everything covered, where small little details get answered from different people, then like product selection versus like account related things versus like thinking about bigger strategy things and AOV. We have the entire thing covered, and that's what makes it good. Because I've seen a bunch of like people complain about other things which they've witnessed in like other programs, which is like one all-arounder and that's it. And this is something which is doable on a smaller scale, but it's very difficult to keep up with when you have a bunch of clients. And like for me, it was such a relief to hire students who are really good already to help other students. And it was such a game changer because they already did exactly the strategy. They know the ins and outs, and they just got better and better and better while seeing all the other people succeed as well. Because like you're seeing your products. Jacob sees your products and everybody else's product. He sees like he knows what's good and what's bad. When you saw your product, did you think it was a 10 out of 10 banger?
So I've been really selective with product selection because I live somewhere where it snows and gets real cold. So I can't film products outside during the winter. And our winters last like 7 or 8 months. So a big criteria to me is being able to film the product in my office. I mean, you can change up the aesthetics and things like that, but that's a big criteria. This product, I'm going to be honest, I did not think it was going to be a 10 out of 10 banger. I really didn't. But now, it's getting so saturated. I see it. I'm like, wow, like this product really was huge and it had big potential. And Jacob saw that before the market had even blown the product up. That's what I couldn't understand. I was like, if I had his mind as far as just seeing a product and knowing the value in it, like that right there is worth the money for the mentorship. That alone is worth the money for the mentorship because one good product can make you tons of money.
100%. And it's just something where people need to understand upsides and downsides. Let's say you test 10 products and fail. The downside of that with organic is almost nothing. You lost a couple of months. Who cares? You're like, actually, who cares? You make one product work, you make insane amounts of profit. Plus, you have the learning experience of what a winning product looks. You see what good content is and how things are. And also, you start getting the confidence in yourself, in the strategy, and you're going to like, you quitting after making it work really well is slim to none. Now having it down is also going to be demotivating, but in the back of your mind, you're going to be like, all right, I know this works. I just have to keep going no matter what. Let me just keep doing it. And it's going to be much simpler. And obviously, also like after making it work with us on Facebook, but then having like a bunch of other issues, you understood, all right, they know what they're talking about. We can just do the thing. And that's why basically like you kept doing the strategy, I assume. And I think it would be much more difficult if there would be no up on Facebook. Imagine this, until now will be the very first time you actually started seeing any success with dropshipping with organic. That would be super difficult.
Even the strategy with Facebook still works. Like my first month, I don't know if you remember with Facebook, I spent $1,500 in ads and made $15,000 in revenue. Like I killed it there. I think my profit was like 32%. I mean, I'm doing 46% profit with organic. So think about that. That is insane. So the strategy with Facebook still really works. With both strategies, products can get super saturated. Everybody's going to pick up your product. It's inevitable. When you have your winner, you almost like think, oh, nobody's going to pick up my product. And then you've got 30 people selling it. But there are 1 billion people on TikTok and Instagram and YouTube. 1 billion out of 30, the opportunity is always still there. I mean, as far as what I know, I feel like a good product can be sold for a few months or if not a few years.
In your stage, this is exactly how it is, where people are picking up the product and it's like going viral, blowing up, and then dying. And then you do that a couple of times. However, there will be a point, and it should come pretty soon, where you start selling products which are actually very difficult for other people to sell. And this is where you actually go from what you're having now to really long-term consistent brands. We have one product with Mikey. People cannot do it. It's very difficult to replicate that one product. Like he's not sharing it, nobody knows it. It's a genuinely difficult product, and it has a bunch of issues. And people think it's not even it doesn't look like a dropshipping product, right? So this is something where nobody's ever going to pick up on it, and it's just going to be you. And this is something which lasts forever. forever. It's the same thing with like products which have a high barrier to entry. If you have tons of shipping issues, tons of tons of problems, people see that and they're like, oh, let me not sell that because why would I deal with all the shipping issues? But if you're the guy who actually solves it, all of a sudden you have no competition. And this is the next stage which we want to reach after making it work once or like a couple of times. The next step for you definitely would still be finding a couple more normal winners, and later on we will go for like higher end products.
To me, still, I'm like, I need to be consistent for 5 or 6 months because I was consistent with Facebook for like, a good 3 months, right? Consistency for 6 months to a year means you can literally live off of the strategy and you can do it as a career, as a business owner for the last 10 years. These kind of profit margins are insane. They're insane. I don't have employees. I have a whole call center back there that I don't need to use. And by the way, I only pay $500 a month for this office. So it's not like I would suggest other people going and getting an office, but I've been here for 5 years and it's cheap. If I make $500 profit off of what we're doing, which is super easy, then, it's worth it for me to keep it.
Yeah, 100%. From the videos themselves, how was your learning curve overall? What were the biggest learnings? What did you improve? How like looking back on your first videos, do you see how much they sucked? Or because obviously back then they looked good, right? So what changed there?
I thought they were amazing.
Exactly.
I thought my videos were so good. You see the progression, even after 100 videos, they're not great, but you start seeing your editing skills getting so much better. And then like when you hit the 1,000,000 views, you're like, you almost can't believe it. Like you feel like you're famous on the internet almost. There are problems with certain products where you can get blocked on TikTok and you just have to start other accounts. It's much easier than if you get blocked on Facebook. As far as it goes with video editing and consistency there, like even still now, I feel like once I'm 500 to 1,000 videos in, then I'll really know how to dial in on the products I'm going to test and I'll be able to make it consistently work.
In between the Facebook doing good and you starting organic, can you maybe go a little bit into details what generally happened there and how you transition?
Like the strategy that you give on Facebook is an old strategy, like from way back when e-commerce first started. And it still works, like genuinely. The product I was selling was a very low ticket product, like $10 or something. And I was still able to make good amounts of revenue with it. Facebook was a really good strategy for me because I have 2 kids. And before my son started kindergarten, I was watching both my baby and my 4-year-old. So they were with me all day. So with Facebook, I was able to make some creatives and work on the Facebook ads, like 2 or 3 hours a day, which is extremely good for the money that I was making. Transitioning over to organic, putting in hours each day and not seeing the results right away, because as people, we want the money now. Yeah. We don't want to wait. Putting in work seems like, and especially because you're not getting paid like some sort of hourly or something guaranteed like you would at a job, it's hard to get the motivation to keep going. With this strategy, if you put in the work, you're going to make the money. There's like no way around it. Literally.
The main difference is there's almost no luck factor. And on Facebook, you can have a bad ad account and you're fucked. You can have some issue which is on Facebook, you're not even at fault. Like with organic, everything is in your control. If you test enough product, if you have enough accounts, you're gonna make it work. And there's way less outside issues generally. There's no Facebook blocks. There's none of that. Even if you get blocked on TikTok and your account gets taken down, like open a new one. If you have the skill of going viral and being good at content, you're gonna make that work.
So I started the backup account and I was curious because I had the main account that I went viral on and I had like multiple viral views, but I was like, if I start this backup account and I go viral again with over 1,000,000 views, then I see that you can build up a brand new account very easily. So because I did it the first time, it came a little quicker the second time on the backup account. So I was happy to see that I could replicate it and do it again. I had Facebook blocks and those are hard. You're going to family members and friends to use their Facebook account. It just seems To them, it just seems a little weird giving that kind of access to somebody. But
Mhm.
again, both strategies work. I just feel like TikTok organic has the best profit margins. It's much easier to scale on the platforms than it is with just Facebook.
I think the main skill, and this is exactly what you said earlier, is being okay with delayed gratification. Like you need to be okay with seeing success not when you put in the work, but later. And sometimes you even put less work in later, but you all of a sudden see success because for the last 3 months you have been putting in the work. So it's just a delay which you need to be okay with. And this is something where you put in the work, you do everything right, for 3 months. Imagine nothing works, and then you just quit right before it actually started to work, and then it was not worth it at all. Like you switch to the Snapchat ads, you do the next thing, and then basically you start from zero again. And I'm seeing this with so many people, like switching everything all the time. It's a waste of your time. Like you need to understand, you are almost there, and you start from zero with a new strategy. You like the skill is very difficult to transfer. Always keep that in mind. For you, what would you tell like a beginner who's starting out? What type of advice would you give them?
You need a mentor. I found my mentor pretty early on. At that point, your subscribers were even like, there wasn't many of us in the group. And I've seen so many people transition in and out of the group. It's
Mhm.
crazy. But you need somebody who knows what they're doing. Somebody who has made money with what you're trying to do. And it's hard to find mentors. It is, because people like to flash a lot of money around, and they like to act like they know it all. For some reason, I saw you and I just trusted your demeanor. There was something about your case studies that felt so real to me, but also consistency. Keep putting in the work. Even though it feels like it's not working, it's just not working at that moment. Because when it does, especially the new strategy that you're pumping out to so many people on YouTube, it's going to pay off. This strategy specifically can work extremely fast. I could see it working for some people a lot faster than it did for me. Those are the biggest things to me.
How would you describe the program generally to somebody who isn't and who didn't see it from the inside?
The program is full of extremely experienced people, people who have literally made money already doing what you're trying to do. They can give you the guidance you need to be successful. You just have to do it, because I feel like a lot of people will come into the program and almost expect you guys to make the money for them. And I'm guilty of that as well. Like, I don't know if you can tell, but I've been extremely humbled over the last 3 or 4 months. Literally, I would say it's, you've got to be self motivated, and then you have to listen. And things can seem frustrating in the program because everybody's so busy trying to help everyone. If you have some patience, then things will come around your way and it will work out for sure. So I have a friend who's actually extremely interested in the program, and I've been pushing him to join. He seems motivated, right? But he's working 2 jobs, a day and night job. He's a bartender, but I think he's going to quit his day job, and he wants to join. And I told him, if you put in the work, which is going to take some time, you will make it, and you will hit your first 10K profit a month. And then that will just set things off for you.
There's no coming back from that, by the way. Like if you see that once, you cannot come back to a normal job after that. It's just impossible.
No way. Like, there's no way.
Yeah.
Especially the time that I get to spend with my family and my kids, and that I still get to keep my office. It just seems like I can't put a value on that. The money that I'm making is good, I'm not gonna lie. But just the value of just being here for my sons and providing for them with the flexibility of time, it's just, I can't put a value or a number on that. I really can't.
Yeah. And I remember like back in the day when we had our like fights and arguments and all these back and forth, and I could clearly tell you're like almost like a different person now. I mean, we can touch on that. Like, how did it feel from your perspective when we had all of our arguments during the program?
I literally was expecting, like I was saying before, I was expecting you to almost make the money for me. I came into the program with an expectation of literally almost having my hand held through things. And I see why you guys don't do that, because that doesn't help. Then I wouldn't know how to do anything personally. Whether I stay in the program for another 2 years, 3 years, regardless, I now know what to do. So hopefully when I'm able to move forward and do it by myself, I'll have the knowledge of making the money and knowing what to do. Where if you held my hand, made all the money for me, and I was no longer in the mentorship, I wouldn't know what to do. I would not know how to optimize my AOV. I wouldn't know how to structure the websites or even set up the Shopify accounts. Like it literally, all that knowledge is so priceless. It's insane.
This is exactly the point. Like, if you ask every single rich person in the world who made their money by themselves, would you now want to rather lose all the knowledge or all the money? Everybody, all of them, 100% of them are going to tell you, I would rather lose all of my money than all my knowledge because I know how to make money back. If I lose my knowledge, I will just be sitting there with my pile of money and that's it. That's useless. You guys need to understand what you're actually getting is knowledge because 10 years looking back on it, you're gonna think, all right, the thing I actually got was knowledge, not money. And I hope you understand, like you see this now from the perspective currently how it was back then when we had all of our arguments about all this random bullshit.
I was gonna say I was hoping you weren't gonna bring that up, but I knew you were going to because you're right. I've almost changed drastically over the last year, especially because I wasn't involved in e-commerce too much before you. I had a Shopify store. I was paying somebody on Fiverr to try and run it for me, but I was running a tech support company. I can't believe, like, I look back on it and I'm like, oh my gosh, I was that guy who was literally arguing with Michael and almost telling him how to do his job when he knows best. Because you look at the case studies over the last few years and there's quite a bit of them. So I would say at this point, you know what you're doing when it comes to communicating and helping people.
Yeah, and this is something which people should expect in the program. Like if you join and you're going to start arguing with me or with the other coaches about the strategy, you can do whatever you want. I'm not going to like make you do things, but you're going to be wrong.
What are the percentage of people though who start arguing with you at first? I gotta know, man.
You're on the top. You're on the top. Like there's like a couple more people definitely. But it's like I think the difference between a bunch of people and you was they're shy of like more open confrontations and they didn't want to tell me. You know, they thought the things and were super like passive aggressive, but they never told me. But you like were kind of upfront about the things which you didn't like or which like you thought are wrong. And that's what I like. That's like I can work with that because at least I know what's going on in your head and I can address it. I can tell you why you're wrong, and I can tell you what like why basically I'm doing it like I'm doing it. And there's a reason for how we structure the program, how much we're helping, and which parts we're leaving out. I could like right now give you 10 products and you would make money. I could do that, and I could do that for every. I'm not going to do that though. This is something I'm not going to do, and that's okay because you should learn it by yourself. And this is how you're going to make the money long term. And if anybody comes into the program expecting us to build everything for you, it's not going to happen. We just tell you what to do. You do it. That's the deal.
Yeah, no, and that's understandable. It really is because literally, if you have somebody do everything for you and then they're gone, you're fucked. You do not know what to do at this point. So learning everything, about the payment holds or getting payment providers, how to build a website, how to structure it properly, add the upsells and downsells and everything else. That is so priceless because you can do that for other people and make money.
Yes.
Like you can get compensated for doing that. Now, me personally, like the compensation isn't enough as doing it for yourself. Like no way. Like I just don't see me making the kind of profit I did this month off of doing that for other people.
And especially if you think about how often you can replicate this now for yourself. So that's a true value. But I mean, we can wrap it up here. For everybody watching, if you're not going to be able to execute, you shouldn't start. If your ego is in a way and you're not going to be like able to understand, we in the program are doing the things like we do them for a reason, and all of it is correct. Like you're not there to argue. You just are there to follow the strategy, and that's it. If you can live with that, you should join. If no, you shouldn't. And we don't really want that, and it's okay. So yeah, for everybody who is interested, click the link below, and I will see you soon.